I heard Gene Spriggs in the background when I came looking for my kids. They had gone, and nobody would tell me where they were after they kicked my oldest daughter out for being rebellious. And I went up to visit my other 3 children. That was before my son left. And I just found out that they were in Boston. And so I drove up and parked my little red sports car at a parking lot and rented a car with black windows, a big car with blackened windows all the way around. And I had a beard down to here, and I shaved totally for the first time in 20 years. And nobody knew who I was. And I sat right in front of their house and watched their actions. And I was going to steal my kids away, but my kids didn't know who I was because they'd never seen me without it. And so I went back to my motel I was staying at and called down to my shop. And the girl that was working for me at that time told me that Dickie Cantrell had called me and said that I was supposed to meet him in Boston, and he was wondering if she knew anything about it, if I was up there, because nobody was really sure it was me. And Susan told me, she says, no, he's gone to Florida, I think, on vacation or something. Susan, who's now my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And so Dickie lied to her about that, and then I got Dickie's number and called Dickie, and I said, listen, I'm in Boston, and I'm here to see my kids. He said, well, what can I do for you? And I said, well, I want to see my children. And I said, if you don't, I think I know you know what I'm capable of. And he says, yeah, we know what you're capable of. And I think he knows that I would go to the police, or I was so mad at that time.
And legally, where do you stand? Can you go see your children anytime? What kind of court rulings oversee this?
We don't have any court rulings. Mm-hmm. I've been waiting, because the reason I waited for so long is because the community, they do hide children, like the Steve Wooten case. It's been a common thing that people would run off. I can't think of all the cases right now. If you give me a little time, I could. Steve Wooten case, I know for sure. He took off with his children, and the community hid him. And because my daughter went back for the visit and saw Gene Spriggs eating with Steve Wooten and his 2 children, who, he was wanted by the FBI at that time. Of course, I tried to call the Jerry Springer program, and nobody responded to me. I tried to tell them I knew where they were. And but I was afraid that my wife would do that she would be told to leave and take my children.
The average member could never have done what you did.
Oh no, the average member could not do what I did.
Okay, well let's...
and why did they let you do what you did?
Well, there were several different reasons. One reason was I owned a lot of the properties were still in my name. And businesses, trademarks, I'll go ahead and say it, were in my name, and they needed those things.
So they needed your cooperation.
Right. And I think also because Spriggs was afraid of what damage we might do. Dickie Cantrell even told me on the telephone when I told him I wanted to see my kids that he understood the damage that I could do.
You liked that fact that they were afraid of you, otherwise you would have had no power.
Right. That's why I was trying to steal them the first time I came up, because I didn't think they would let me see them.
But the average member, if they left and their kids were still in the community, they wouldn't be able to come and go and see their children.
Probably not, especially if they had said anything against the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had been so careful not to speak out against the community until now, because I was scared that they would hold that over my head, that they would run with my children to another country.
James, do you remember being part of decisions where people like Mike wanted to see their kids, or were you ruling really in essence with this group, say no, he's not going to see his kids, this is dangerous, whatever?
Right.
You were part of that decision.
Yeah, he's a detriment to the community. He said that, Gene Spriggs is not the apostle. If he comes here and talks to his children, he's no telling what he might put in their head. So it's just better for you as his wife to just take the children and go somewhere else.
So would you have been called one of the elders of the church? Is that what you were called? What were you called?
I had many titles. As things changed, titles changed. I started out as a responsible brother.